right, man. We back with another episode of Chicago Blueprint. We got one of the founders of Chicago with the music industry, entrepreneurship, real estate, and
Show
everything.
you how to move in a room full of vultures.
Yeah, and make everything happen.
The
You got Rita Lee, right?
Rita Lee.
Yeah, Rita.
Yes.
Wonderful Rita Lee.
Tell them all this a little bit about yourself and your upbringing in Chicago, baby.
Well, Chicago is the best city on earth.
Yes.
Facts.
From that perspective, I've lived in every area of Chicago, but was born and raised on the west side, 60644.
290, baby.
290, baby, but stretched up to Rogers Park, Skokie, Evanston. South side became weird. Started running stuff at Washington Park, but
Right.
that's how I got introduced to the south side. Lived in different suburbs, but from that perspective, when they see me, they call me Chicago.
Chicago.
Check the corner and see them, I know it. Amen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Amen.
I know you personally. I know you're bigger than Chicago. You're global, not local. But
Amen.
Chicago accepts you as their own because you are the culture.
Chicago's international, so that's why you're able to spread your wings and go anywhere on earth and know how to move around. Because our engineering is so impeccable. Any city I go to, I can maneuver. And they think, do you live here? No, I just have the best engineering. And they know what north, east, west, and south is.
That's
So,
right.
so from a person that doesn't know you standpoint, how do you make that look so easy when you are in other states, other places, and it's nobody that you know, and you're in a room full of strangers?
Because I'm from Chicago, and Chicago will eat you if you don't know how to move. I come with a high spirit, and the frequency, 90% of the fingerprint that you see come from the Most High. And so from that, if I'm in the room, you probably prayed for me to be there, or I prayed to be there to learn something. And through that, I learned to walk those steps.
That's a beautiful way to look at things.
Let me ask you a question, Rita. What made you choose entertainment and business instead of the traditional path that everybody goes down, like working a 9 to 5?
Well, when I worked a 9 to 5,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't serve me to the point to where I got to where I'm at today. And I say working 9 to 5. My first 9 to 5 was working at Garfield Park on the west side for Chicago Park District. But they put me in a leadership perspective. So imagine I'm 13 and I'm the boss of everybody.
Oh, wow.
Right? So my training ground was from there. But when you're on the west side, we have a culture of respect. And then being from the south, it gives me some yes ma'am, no ma'am, no sir type stuff. And what was your question again?
What made you choose the entertainment and the business path and being an entrepreneur than just going down the regular path?
And so in that regular path, I saw the confines of people that was happy to have titles.
Right.
And then I started working for this company called Family First that was providing health care to people on Medicaid that would give them free dental, but more importantly, they can go to the University of Chicago.
Okay.
And so in that, I kind of found my niche of what marketing was. My godmother, she was like, yo, the Park District stuff is cool. You play basketball, that's all good. But you know, you're a marketer. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Right.
And she was like, no, come downtown to the John Hancock building. I got a job for you. The company's called Family First. And I go do the interview. They was like, hey, you finna make $28,000. I was like, fuck is that? Okay, cool. I'm 18. Let's get it.
Let's get it, right?
From that perspective, they said you had to collect people information to get them up. So I went and did an event in front of the public aid office, had DJs come out, and I signed up about 2,000 people.
Oh, wow.
So you went from 28,000 to 100,000.
Wow.
Right? So imagine what that looks like in my pocket. I mean, what the fuck is this? And then you get these commission checks.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm thinking it's just that. I don't know about commission and all that. But in that is where I understand about the exit strategy now. That company decided to sell itself because their company, I'm hanging out with the CEOs, and everybody's like, how the fuck she go from? I didn't even have a business suit. Named Leo. I can't even think her name. I'm sorry for doing that to you right now. She said, Rita, I'm going to go buy you a professional suit. We went to Carson. She spent $400 on me having a professional suit, right? Damn. Oh, my name, Lee. Sorry, you know who I'm talking about. But she bought my first suit. So I got my suit on, it's cool. And I come to work, and their projection was to get 3,000 members and sell the company. So imagine in 5 years, I did that in their first 6 months.
Exactly.
So in that context now, I'm hanging out, doing all this CEO shit. I'm like, hey, I'm cool. I come to work, and he was like, oh yeah, now we're going against Harmony Healthcare, and we Family First Healthcare. So in the words of the streets, Harmony the ops.
Right, the ops. Right.
I got to we competing. And so they sold the company to Harmony. When I walk in the building that day, they say, yo, Rita, we just sold to Harmony. A guy from Nigeria was standing there, and we're going to, your contract is going to go with them, and we're going to give you a raise. I was like, ooh, I ain't for sale. Got me fucked up. Sell what? But you just saying it because you ain't got kids. I said, so then therefore, I quit.
Yeah.
See y'all later. And from there, a transition popped up to one of the events, and I'm watching the entertainment stuff, and I got with Maze Jackson and did a campaign with Coca-Cola and Sprite.
Mm-hmm.
So you saw the rappers come and everybody in front of George's Music Room. I was a part of that campaign with Maximilian and made this big national push. And then I watched, everybody kept talking about J.B. Ross, Linda Mitch as lawyers. And this young lady named Heather Nelson was an entertainment attorney. Jeff Dillard was another entertainment attorney. But I kept watching Chicago all go to these Caucasians that used to represent James Brown legally.
Right.
I was like, well, shit, that's what y'all gonna keep doing? I'm always trying to fix somebody, put a cape on myself and save the world.
Mm-hmm.
I said, so Heather, we sitting in front of the E2, and it was Puff Daddy was an all-white party. I said, all y'all ain't got no damn lawyer. And I signed everybody up to her immediately. And I realized at that moment, the Slick Boys had come show up to do a video at Cotton Club. And I said, you get paid for this shit? You get paid to do this shit? And he was like, yeah. And from that perspective, I realized there was a solution that was needed. And then I started doing my business management, and I'm an engineer on the other side of schooling. And I realized nobody in Chicago knew what to do business-wise.
Right.
Not a soul. Who fuck who you are.
So you filled that gap.
I started guiding people towards the information.
The information, okay.
So then I became the client to myself because there was nobody to do it. And so this gentleman wanted his daughter to be in the daycare at Washington Park. And he started the Universal Soul Circus. That was the first year.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, if you can get my daughter in here, I'm in the music industry, I'll teach you something. I said, what you gonna teach me? He put me down to the Delaware Hotel, pulled out all these contracts for all these concerts he's done. So I got to see contracts from Elton John, Michael Jackson, Prince, and I'm just looking at the context of production now.
Right.
And then the bug bit me. And so from that perspective, to answer your question, I joined this particular business model because there was a lack of information and the business hadn't been rewritten. So I started NuFace Entertainment because if you can't handle change, how can you have a new face? And that's why I started adding the value of new information to how to survive in a room full of vultures.
Man.
Yeah.
And you got a mantra too that you go by. You don't work a 9 to 5, and you don't rap, sing, or dance.
Yeah, exactly. I don't rap, sing, or dance, but catch me on a good day. That flow gonna come out, Jack. Yeah.
Definitely, this is on the flow. So I had read an article. It was a while back, maybe a couple of years ago. And Chili from First and 15, he had mentioned you as being an intricate part of them becoming who they were, and the rapper at the time was Lupe Fiasco. Could you elaborate on that?
He's still Lupe Fiasco.
Yeah, he is Lupe.
My good friend Ola and I was driving down 159th and South coming through Calumet City. He was like, yo, Jay-Z cut a check and got Chili out of jail, and Lupe is in there. What you want to do, Rita? I was like, they say can't get on the radio. I said, really? Let's go. They was working out. I said, pull up. He pulled up and we got in there. Chili was like, yeah, Rita, they don't mess with us. I said, who? Nobody. I was like, all right, cool. What you want? I just need to get Lupe on the radio. I said, he'll be on the radio tonight. He said, yeah, right. I said, yeah, right back. Call Bulu, call Ferris. And I said, I need y'all to give Lupe a chance. He was like, they said, okay. It was just what that was. Bop, bop. Tilted from the Fahrenheit 1st and 15th was the first song that they did. And from that standpoint, Chili them took me in, and we went to Atlantic, and Craig Calvin came in the room. It's like, yo, Chicago, would you please tell him to put a hook on a fucking song? And Lupe was so abstract and prolific in what he did, he never wanted to follow the way things needed to be.
Traditional.
Right. And so from that energy, that gave him a push because Jay-Z had already co-signed him and stuff like that. But I did a conference at University of Illinois, and I took Big John Platt, Heather, Cynthia Johnson, Daryl Jones, that works for Atlantic, and all these people in the car. Lupe at one end and Chill on the other end. Lupe said, Rita, I got this record. And he played it. It was Kick Push. Mm-hmm. Just as long as this limousine is we sitting right here, I'm going, that's it, right? So we get back home, and Chill calls like, Rita, come in, we got it mixed. I was like, cool. They was mixing all the way out there in Homewood. I was like, I come in the house, and I was like, you ready? He was like, ready. I picked the phone, called Errol and said, Tiffany Green, finna bring this record down, and we finna go. I said, cool. They got in the car. I didn't even go. They got in the car, went down there. Mike Love and the Dibs was on the radio. So from 6 to 7 o'clock, they played Kick Push back to back, back to back, back to back, back to back. And we Kick Push the history from there.
Yeah, that was a huge record too, especially in Chicago, because we was used to hearing the gangster rap with the Bump J's and the slides.
That was a mission of mine, because everybody at the time, Bump J was in Atlantic, and he just got the Kanye West record that got remixed. And on the board, you saw Twista and everybody. And I said, for the record, I'm going to make Lupe go to the top of the priority list, because they put you in priority with your releases and stuff like that. But if your grind is on, you'll skip the ranks. And so that's what happened with that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what's up. One of the people that you work with throughout your career has been Empire with Ghazi and Naeem, and you was basically started with them in the beginning. Can you give us some insight on how was it like working with Empire and the people that you brought over?
Ghazi was the answer to the thought processes that I had been creating, because I created the first download cards. I created where you click that I took over radio stations. I was the first person who took over Power 92 and took over Hour. I was my own program director. Nobody can tell me what to put on the radio. And that's when I realized Chicago didn't want to win. Wow. At least they didn't want to see me win. Because they would complain about not being able to get on radio. I went and bought the Hour and said, hey, come, let's get on radio.
Exactly.
Right? But they didn't comprehend that. And so even in my lesson of that, I would say, give me $100 so you can get put on radio. That was like, why? But nobody understood. He's like, that's payola. I said, no. If you go buy a 30-second commercial on radio right now, it costs something.
Yeah.
So you tell me I'm supposed to put a 3-minute fucking song on for free?
Yeah.
This is called advertising and marketing, but the translation wasn't there for them to understand. So in that advancement, that technology gap was already there. So I was already starting to, I was basically first streaming ever.
It was before your time.
I was on time.
With that situation.
I was on time because I created the download hour. So what you heard, you got to stream and download it immediately if you had a download card. Wow. I was the one giving out the QR code so you can scan. Right. And giving you perspective. This is in 2005.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
21
at
years
that time.
ago.
Yeah.
Right? So in that conversion of independence, I was bored, and I went to the West Coast and said, I always challenged myself. I've never been someplace and I can go break the code and create a new business model. Let me go do that. Mm-hmm. And I got introduced to Ghazi because he just put out Sage the Gemini. And they had a misunderstanding about what a contract meant. Basically, if I put up $500,000, I got to get my $500,000 back, right? Yeah. And so, but Ghazi did a lot of studying where he used to work at, and he created the non-exclusive distribution deal. So they gave you freedom, so your masters weren't tied up. Okay. You just needed a department to sell your music. So for that, I knew what to do with that, and most people didn't. Mm-hmm. It was just him and Nima is his proper name at the time, and then they brought Eamon on. But in that context, I was able to illustrate something. Imagine I'm on the West Coast, and they're based in San Francisco. I'm changing the rhythm of how they do business. Right. Everybody from the West Coast, from California, from LA to San Francisco. So I take a little boy from Oakland called Raven Justice, and I make him so big on the West Coast. The West Coast is just like a country. Right. So you got everybody from YG. Everybody's looking at how, YG, Moses, Joe Moses. What's the beautiful young lady name? I can't. All my names are falling short. But in reference to people that was running radio, we knew what to do with it. And then a guy named Kennard Carter was back there, so I was guiding the energy of how to break a record, and that's what we brought Jeremiah out there and broke "Fuck You All the Time." Right. But the concept of all that meant that if I can take somebody from nowhere and then now he's getting touring in Europe, who the fuck is Rita Lee? That's all you kept hearing. Who the fuck is Rita Lee?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is Rita Lee? Right? But I understand the business that needs to be shown as an example of how to do the process. You have so many quarters. You have so many things from January to December. You know it's gonna be Super Bowl, Grammys, All-Star, Oscars, South by Southwest, BET Awards wasn't there yet, but then the ESPYs, VMAs, so forth and so on, right? Mm-hmm. If you understand that, that's a schedule for you.
Exactly.
And if you want to be in the Grammys, you have to make your product out before September. So those things, given infrastructure, is what made me like Gazi, because they had the non-exclusive. And by doing that, I kept telling everybody, I said, yo, you tied up, but you can come bring this project over and be non-exclusive and get your jug on. Mm-hmm. And because Gazi was passionate about music, that's how that integration happened. And for that, it was like a good and bad taste, because I never wanted to be tied up with people, and everybody still had an entitlement about life. So if I put you directly in tune with Empire, how the fuck has something to do with me now?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right? But through that cautiousness, everybody's like, yo, Rita, sign me. I don't want to do shit, because if you misunderstand business, you're going to blame me.
Yep.
And 90% of people have energy that misunderstood business and choose to blame me because I'm the easy to fall guy, because I chose not to be with nobody.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yep.
And for that, what's so crazy, if you look at the blueprint is this. Nobody has ever said something about me, has ever said it to my face. Mm. Nobody's ever had no issues, have never brought it to the table to discuss it properly. Mm-hmm. You know why? It was okay for them to try to manipulate the sob story. They don't know my lies over here, so let me go tell you these. You know, hey. Right? The blueprint, if I call it, when you get broke, you go crying and tell them crying the river. Mm-hmm. But the story about Empire, they empower people, and some people became codependent like it was public aid.
Right.
And didn't do the work. Yeah. Right? But Gazi is a great, phenomenal person. He put together a great, phenomenal team. It works for a lot of people. But in the same time, you have Create Music Group with Wayne. Yeah. Their evaluation is crazy because they understood the analytics of business. Mm-hmm. And then you have those independent aspects of what Create did, brought technology to another level with distribution and stuff like that. And that's another brother from Chicago, Wayne Hampton.
Yeah, shout out to Wayne.
And so with that, I don't even know if I answered your motherfucking question, but at the end of the day,
you did for sure.
God is good.
When you started
them all, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, when you started working with Wayne though, because he was from Chicago, he's young, he's black, and he has now entered into the distribution market. For you to go over there and work with him and to see how fast he excelled, it's kind of like how you was a little bit, but he's like a male version of it.
Now, Wayne got his run with Shaka, and rest in peace from that perspective. He was always under good things, right? And he aligned himself with no nonsense, right? I would tend to want to save the fools, the underdogs, that didn't have the same energy to reflect that back, right? Mm-hmm. But because of that, I still elevated that you still deserve a chance, even though you might be a fuckboy. You follow what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And excuse the expression, that's part of the game. A lot of people put on faces that they're not ready to live up to. Yeah, and so I wanted everybody to be a boss. And then I realized everybody's not capable of being bosses. No. So I want to make you a boss, but you're a worker.
Exactly.
You're looking for a transaction. Mm-hmm. You're not looking for the sacrifice to stay up all night, what it takes to move. Where if I'm doing an event, I've done events where I'm parking a car and it's like, oh, here go a tip. I was like, he said, I know they're not paying you enough. I said, it's my fucking event.
Right.
Yeah, I park cars for my shit. Mm-hmm. But that's the difference of being a true entrepreneur. There's no breaks about it, and you got to keep it moving.
You don't mind getting your hands dirty neither.
How do I be able to guide you if I don't know what you went through?
Yep. Yeah. You got to know every role.
That's the blueprint, right?
Most definitely.
Yeah. Right? Thank you, God. Jay-Z did the blueprint.
So one more thing that I had wanted to ask you: how is it being such a lady within the industry that's predominantly based on men, and then to have you as who you are and everything that you touch turn gold, basically? And it's a lot of times where it's men and they have the ego where I can get it done, but then you come right in, easily get it done, and I know it's a lot of people feel a certain type of way about that just because you have a demeanor where it's direct. It's,
How do you maintain
direct
your
forward.
confidence in that in that era?
Because I did get dirty and came out the mud with it. I know my power comes from God and my guidance comes from God. It carries a little unfuckable with energy.
Mm-hmm.
But because I understand, just give you an analogy of an example. Those people I never been to LA for the first time. It was the Source Awards, right?
Going back in the day.
Right? Yeah. And so the very first one. So I get to the Source
Exclusive.
Awards and I get in. First location I go to is Robbie Reed and Associate Babyface in the building.
Okay.
So imagine I'm new to what the transition of I'm thinking you're somebody, but you're really nobody.
Nobody.
Right? So now I'm in front of Robbie Reed, the biggest black casting agent on earth. Right?
Okay.
She's telling me, let's hang out. I love your aura. Okay, this is a Source Award. What are you talking about, lady? We're going to go to the Source Awards. But when I get to hear that playback, the people I'm with get there. There's a check-in table, and everybody knows about awards more frequently now. There's a check-in table off of Hollywood Boulevard. I know all the streets now in Highland, and we're right there. And they're doing a check-in to that place, and they all leave me. They leave me. They all over there. And they's like, we don't have no ticket for you, Rita. We trying to figure it out. And they left. This white lady standing behind the thing, she turned around, she said, they left you? I said, yeah. She go in her bag, pull out an all access pass, and give it to me. They had tickets to sit down.
Damn.
I'm through this month.
Free range.
What?
Free range.
Janet Jackson, boom, boom. So now all the people that just played me got to see God's grace. That's how I know that's God. This lady didn't know me from a can of paint. She gave me an all access pass to an award show.
Yeah.
First person I walked up on was Janet Jackson. What the fuck? Because I'm not, and then I'm testing it. I'm like, what the fuck does this really mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I can move anywhere through the building. So now I'm walking through the building. So everybody they see from Carl Kanai, everybody looking at me like, who the fuck is she?
Right. Yeah.
I'm in a little room with Mama Mia and them, and I'm with Mia X and them. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm back there just No Limit Soldier shit. If you look at the first Source Awards, I'm like, wow. But me, they treated me. Guess what I did when I came back? Y'all want to go back and see what it's like to be that? Pass my pass out and sit down. Let everybody get it. I can name the names. They know who the fuck I'm talking about.
Right.
But those are the moments that give me the clarity about how I can be confident, because those moments happen for me all the time. From being in the office the first day Jay-Z took over Def Jam, to being going to the 40/40 Club, I can name a whole bunch of scenarios that only can give me the confidence only God could put me in those rooms, because I didn't click. No click could put me in those rooms.
Exactly.
I'm talking about, you can dream about it. I haven't been there.
That's the next question that I was going to ask you. Being around so many celebrities, who have you worked with in the past that you just like, y'all had some unforgettable memories? And if you can, share one with us.
Shit, Lupe was one of them I shared. Dame, some more. Jay, being in the office with Jay for the first day, and his Evisu jeans, his white t-shirt, and his blue velour jacket, and his S Carters, and seeing him look at the S Carters and John Manili bringing it in there to discuss it, and he coming out, and his Maybach is out there, and he said, yo, we can go to the 40/40 Club. I'm hopping in the car. That shit is different. And then even just like Jelly Roll, before I had to have brain surgery, I drive to Nashville. He's coming to do the full body graph so that could do some
the 3D
animations with his body. He didn't want to put the suit on, but he still showed up and showed his personality. He said, I didn't want to put no suit on. I said, we don't need to do that no more. We got technology. I can just walk around your ass with a phone.
Yeah.
And in that moment, he realized I had to have surgery. He was like, you drove here? He's like, no, I'll put you on a private jet, send you back right now. I said, I can't get on the plane because I had that brain surgery. Right? But in those moments, you get to see the character of how God gets to reflect who you are, on how with other people be like, ooh, that's Dame Dash, ooh, that's Jay-Z, ooh, that's Lupe, even all the way down to Kanye, right?
Right.
One of the best scenarios that I'm going to give y'all an exclusive on, I negotiated a deal for Kanye to get a guaranteed $1 billion for 60 dates in 2024.
Right.
$1 billion on paper.
Oh, wow.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed. Wow.
Okay? That's with a company called Gala, right? But these are facts where I'm in the room with Ye and he meet me and he's like, yo, shorty is good, but if you're in a room with somebody that's insecure, another man that's insecure about who I am, fuck the player for him. Then fuck the player for me.
Wow.
I was obedient.
Yeah.
He said, I want a 7-continent tour. Okay. His first stop was Antarctica.
Wow.
You can do that. You have to be ordained with God, but that happened.
No, most
First
definitely.
tour date was Antarctica.
Right. Wow.
Every continent was in place, right? Those things happened, but what it did wasn't about him from that perspective. It was a reflection of why I can be confident. I can pull that type of shit off.
And effortlessly too.
It's all about logistics in the first place. You reverse engineer your exit strategy.
Most definitely.
And I don't want to be sold. I stand by what he stand by, and his independence, and even Dame and everybody else. The independence was codependent from a major company pushing your ideas.
Mm-hmm.
But if you put a team of people that can push your ideas, you're that company.
Self-sufficient.
Is that? But there comes the fear factor, where you have a worker on your team that's comfortable appeasing the other people's box versus creating a box for you.
Most definitely. You spitting game, girl. You spitting game.
Nah, hey, look, I'm sucking it up. You drop it down, I'm gonna pick it up. That's one thing for sure. Pause. Yeah. So, you have an affiliation with Rock Nation, and in Chicago, there is the Rock Nation brunches, the summer brunch, and the winter ball, which I personally go to, and I don't miss them, and they are wonderful. Tell us how that came about. How did you come up with that big idea?
It's not even an idea. It's just the lifestyle of what it is. Duce came into the marketplace, and my brother Reggie is head of new business development, and we met. And in this meeting, he didn't understand his role, and I said, "I know what you're missing," and I gave him what was missing for Duce. I gave him 26 accounts in one day, and in that 26 accounts in one day, Rock Nation executive Sherman came into town to see how did that happen in one day. And in that vibration, it's just a respect of me giving. I don't have a job. I don't work for them, but it's called a mutual respect that what I've done, they allow me to do me. And because of that, Rock Nation is a brand and artist, and I try to get people, I wanted to get people to understand, if you create an experience, you don't need an artist to be there. And Rock Nation brand is an artist to me. So I created an experience around that brand. And from that's where I have a reflective of having a summer event and a winter event. And I get to say Powered by Rock Nation, Ace of Spades, and Duce, and TTPMG.
Yeah.
Trust the process, manifesting greatness. That's me.
And those for the record, those are the biggest events in Chicago.
I'm waiting on my invitation for Rita.
The invitation is open and stands, and the good part of those transitions is how I went become a restaurateur, as they call it. Now I have 3 restaurants that I operate from a hospitality perspective. One in River North, one in Des Plaines right there by O'Hare, and one that is coming to be in Evanston. And at the same time, in that transition, also redeveloping a historic town called Robbins, Illinois, Village of Robbins. Village of Robbins has a unique experience for me. Selassie sent Marcus Garvey to study in Robbins. Robbins was the first Black airport on earth. It was created there, and those particular instructors then turned around and taught the Tuskegee Airmen how to fly. Then there's another pilot that was there that flew in Ethiopia to help. A lot of things happen that we have to understand where we stand. I call Robbins the only Black country left on earth that hasn't been subjugated to the oppression of colonization.
Wow.
But it has the results of not being loved properly.
Exactly.
Right? And so in that concept, they have 2,000 empty parcels.
Okay.
I started with 3. Now just close a deal to do 500 in increments of 50. And in that perspective, when you look at Robbins is 20 minutes from Midway, 30 minutes from O'Hare. You can't get to O'Hare faster than I can from Robbins. That's in between Kedzie Pulaski, 127th and 137th.
Mm-hmm.
That's the box, right? To the left of that is Crestwood, where you have Walmart, Menards, everything. While I'm building, I only have to go to Menards in 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
To the point that I can have Menards bring me everything from a skull cap. I want a skull cap, bring me a skull cap.
Mm-hmm.
But the concept of it, I have an all-black crew that is training other black men and a couple brown brothers that's in the team. But it's not to subjugate that I don't want all races to benefit from redeveloping it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still back to how I got into the music industry.
Right.
Is create a narrative for ourselves, to learn for ourselves, to do for ourselves.
Exactly.
And I don't use no government money. If they give it to me, I'll take it. But the dedication of that process, I realize if I want to build in Chicago, you hear these things. I'm waiting on the TIF money. Can I get, everybody's begging to build. I say, let's build.
Right.
That's the difference of it. And in that process, you now looking at a person that can say, I'm going to build 500 homes.
Exactly.
Match me.
Wow.
That's that part of it.
Have you ever
I'd like
thought
to
about
take that
going into
challenge.
politics?
Who needs to politic when I work for God?
Ooh, say it again. One more time. Say it
Boy,
again.
Rita, you ain't no joke, boy. You
Ain't
spitting
no
it today,
joke.
baby.
Yeah.
You
So-
you right about it.
Yeah.
Politics isn't a governance for you to tick and suck on somebody.
Oh, you hear that, politicians?
No, they play their roles accordingly. But in this particular case, we're communicating for ourselves without the need of that. They can benefit from our work, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
That's what's up. How do it feel to be a black woman developing 500 parcels, 50 increments at a time, and to have TTPMG in front of it, right? Trusted process, manifesting greatness, and ground up development. You're the sole founder and CEO of that operation. How does that feel in the whole?
To know when God make a plan and you stand by it, it's reflective.
Mm.
And then you have to do, as we've been discussing today, manage those blessings and dodge the devil.
There you go. It ain't been easy to dodge that devil.
No, it's not been easy. It's managing the blessings that hasn't been easy, that the devil want to take away and make you not understand who you know.
Okay. I
Patient
like
beat.
that.
That's
I like
the
that.
difference of that.
I like that.
The distractions and joy stealers.
Yeah.
The look at me niggas.
You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you've been through a lot of those.
We all have, and I don't think it's ever going to stop, but the importance of understanding the responsibility that's written for you is understanding what's written for you. So no different than right now, we all in here breathing, but we only have one fingerprint that identify us.
Most definitely.
Catch that if you can.
And I've never seen nobody jump in the casket for a motherfucker.
Ooh.
So under the YOLO Act, I've actually lived a couple times and died a couple times. But in that process, you have to say, well, that day was bad. And one of my phrases that you know and love about it, my bad day on a motherfucker bucket list.
Yeah. I was just about to say that to Taylor because he was saying like his bad days, some of his bad days are still good days compared to other people,
Right.
where they come from.
Just like when he had an interview and he talked about Michael Jackson's first recordings. I have those.
Yeah.
I can go play them for you, let you hear the stems and all of that. At 7 billion people on Earth, what puts me there?
How is that possible for, like, I know anything is possible, but you actually with the Jacksons, with the family and the estate?
The estate has its own bearings, but I've spoken to his son
Mm-hmm.
before. I've working with the liaison of the family that's based out of Gary.
Mm-hmm.
So those, and from Steve, who manages the Jacksons, the elevation of what Eddie Melton has done, and the mayor now used to be the state senator. Those natural things that I'm talking about, I
Mhm.
deliver in my aura. It rises to the point of you can meet so many people that say, then you come to a doer and they make all the say look like nay. You know what I'm saying? Pause.
For sure, for sure.
Right.
I had you had Dame Dash here not too long ago. He was speaking about Gary. Did he visit Gary with you? Did you go with him?
Yeah, no, he put, to give him just due, he introduced me to Eddie Melton because that's his homie.
Okay.
But me, I look at Dame from the view of, he put one of the greatest artists on earth on. That's Jay-Z. And in that process, when I did the Food and Liquor NFT drop with Lupe Fiasco for the anniversary, I took it to his studio in Burbank. And my concept behind that is I'm looking to give him something back, to put him into a new wave, and that's me paying respect to what I've learned from him. Right. A lot of my bravado confidence coming from how names to handle motherfuckers. Yeah. Right? But in the concept of it, I looked at handling somebody and then how you treat somebody is two different things.
Completely.
Right? And so those elements with Dame, he was honorable in certain interviews that he has. He's like, I thought Rita was coming to use my equipment. She came in with shit and was like, no, I don't need your shit. And he said, and it's good, and he stated it, and it was rewarding for him to state that, it's good to see your student become your teacher. Right. That's humility at a person at his level. Yeah. You feel me? And so at the same time, it's also rewarding to go back to my confidence. My confidence comes from God, but most people don't know how to digest it. Because I walk in a room in 5D and everybody look at shit in 1D. Yeah.
I mean, it's always good to be able to have someone saying something to you constructively instead of criticizing. So constructive and being to criticize and constructive is two different things. If you're saying something to somebody to help them along their way and in their journey to put some tougher skin on them, that should be more receptive than someone that's just like forcefully trying to demand somebody to do something.
It's all about how you raise and what you comprehend. Mm-hmm. That's what I've learned. Because if your mother hugs you all the time, you can't comprehend me telling you shut the fuck up. Most definitely. When I tell you shut the fuck up, you ready to shoot me. Yeah. But they said, Rita, why do you shut the fuck up? I need him to understand to shut the fuck up. No, be quiet, won't go work at that moment. Mm-hmm. Right? If I say stop, I'm telling you stop with my grandson. Mm-hmm. I've never had to beat anybody I raised. All right. Because that was me breaking my own cycle. Mm-hmm. I say one time, what's the one finger mean? If I don't have to repeat myself, you can have anything in the world. I get the 2, I start taking shit. If I get the 3, I got to whip your ass. We're no longer talking no more. Because now you put me in a situation where I have to hurt you, discipline you. That means we're not on the same accord. You're now changed my frequency. Yeah. So I get the 3, you gotta fucking get your ass back home. Because I'm not gonna whoop you. I don't need to. If I have to whoop you, it means that I've lost my control.
Most definitely.
You follow me? And I allowed you to lose control. And here's the other part. You know you kept pushing it till I get there. Mm-hmm. And that's humans all the way around the board.
I was just about to ask my next question. Do you carry that same format or bearing with everybody through?
That's why I don't repeat myself to him. He understands that. If I have to repeat myself, that's why I like the phrase I got it. I got you. Mm-hmm. What the fuck you got? My workers now, my partners, I don't call them workers, my partners, they say I heard. I'm going to execute. That's the difference of it. It's important because it's a safety thing. That's why it's the safety. It's very important to have safety in your communication.
Right.
That's it.
What makes you say yes to working with somebody?
God.
I'll never really say yes.
So what makes you work with people?
The alignment.
The alignment?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a level of alignment, and I understand it's a reason, season, and lifetime.
Most definitely.
If you feel like God put you in this place, in this predicament, and it makes sense, that's what you mean by your alignment?
The alignment, because if we're not aligned, I'm not. It had to come from some spiritual prayer or some lesson I have to get to receive the next level of blessing.
Mm-hmm. How do you pay it forward, like all of your blessings that you received in life? Like, how do you balance it? I know a lot of people want something from you, but how do you humbly, like, pay it back?
The natural, how I sacrifice myself for you to see what's necessary to know him through my example.
I love it.
And I give out $2 bills and shit too.
I keep my $2 bills. They're supposed to be for good luck.
Yeah,
Maybe I should give away. I guess better luck.
Yeah, I give them out because that part of me is not about. It's not that I have a lot. I just know what it's not like to have anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I know $20 can change somebody's day. $100 can change somebody's day.
Mm-hmm.
A hug. Have somebody told you they love you today, and they be like, "No." I said, "Well, I won't be the first one to tell you, but okay, fuck it. I tell you I love you." Those things are the encouragement of just knowing that being alive is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that people that commit suicide are superheroes because I can't hurt myself.
Well,
Most
that's
definitely.
deep right there.
Yeah.
So a lot of the Chicago youth, they all know of you, been around you. You got a like auntie, mother type of appeal to you. And one of the people that was early on that you had that was very attached to you was Fredo.
Mm-hmm.
You mind speaking on Fredo and giving us some insight? Rest in peace, Fredo. You know, he's been gone for a little minute. A lot of people didn't know the genuine side of Fredo. They only knew the Savage Squad Fredo.
You know, pass me my phone. I have Fredo had a moment of we was gonna take him to do my mixtapes in South by Southwest, and he didn't have an ID, so he always had to go through an extra step, to go through the airport to TSA.
Okay.
And so when we got to the airport, it was a lot of stuff back and forth to get him to go to do it. It was a white flag. I call it the white flag concert. And so Fredo's getting there. My mixtape having the show. We get to the airport. He don't have a ID.
Right.
So we see how we get to TSA. They said no go. It's 8:00 in the morning in LA. We go back to the rental car. They left the rental car in the garage. We get in the car. Fredo goes in his pocket and pull out this little Bible.
Okay.
Rita, I got this because I got to know that God got me. I said, God got you, I promise you. I call one of my friend network. He calls a weed guy, the store. We get to the store, they open the store up to give him his weed card.
Okay.
I call call another friend of mine. I want to put them out there like that. They sent a prescription so he can get a prescription from Walgreens.
Mm-hmm.
So he got medicine bottle with his name on it and a weed card. We on that flight.
We on that flight.
So he on the flight, and I can show you. I'll give you a sentence. You got to do B-roll of it, of him doing the drop on the plane. About that, and it was one of those moments where it was very rewarding to me to know that he chose God to help that happen, and God used me to facilitate that for him to be able to see that. And you see, that's Fredo right there.
Yeah, that's him.
Rest
Right?
in peace, man.
And it's him sitting in the car of us going through that moment. And I just downloaded that March 22nd. And those moments is where, look, now here it is. Even us in the house. And it's just another moments of me being with him and giving him that love that he wanted. And all they wanted was love. So when we came to South by Southwest, they came to my house. In my house, I have Playboy Cardi, Fredo, 600 Breezy, Maxo Cream, all these people in the house. I said, why y'all not going to go to y'all Airbnb? They said, we want to stay here with you.
It was TT Reed.
So, and 600 Breezy was there.
Free six.
And so we in the house, they playing golf, they cooking. Every morning I wake up, my house is immaculate. So I get to testify. So everybody coming to get them to take them to my mistake and bulletproof cars. I was like, what the fuck y'all got all this bulletproof? Nothing finna happen. I'm outside. Nothing happened.
Right.
And in those moments, Fredo come back. He go back to LA, and he had kept getting sick. He called me, and I was like, you know, you got to stop doing the drugs. He said, no, Reed, I got to stop. And I said, well, you got to use this as your voice. I know the pain of seeing people killed. Do that is you got to go ahead and talk about your PTSD. So in that that moment of him talking about it, he did bring that out. And you can see that. And then during his PTSD, that's what led Herb to do his PTSD project.
Right.
So those little moments of those things, and where I put Fredo with Empire and all of those things where everybody got self-sufficient. But Fredo, to this day, I can log into his accounts, this is my baby, right? Yeah. And those intimate calls that I get from everybody, nobody understands how many calls I get from even stopping Chief Keef and Dirk from fighting. Yeah. All of these different things, I get the phone calls, but I never had to do it outside publicly and say, hey, I stopped this, I stopped that.
Yes, all right.
They just knew I was heavy enough to.
I see calling. Chill out.
Squash it.
Be cool.
But it's more about giving them proper perspective, because most of them were misguided by other people having agendas. Sure.
Yeah.
That, a lot of old motherfuckers didn't miss their beat. They go try to get their beat off the little dudes.
And they didn't show them love, like you said. It's like
all they wanted was hugs. Let me just put that in perspective.
And that's what I was just about to say.
They always just everyone. I got hugs. So you imagine Playboy Cardi won't even who he is yet. I'm hugging and Lil Reese. Right. Everybody, even Lil Reese. It's just hugs. Everybody just want hugs.
Yeah, that's it.
And then love. From there, because it's two other people. I do my research. It's two other people that you was around that's no longer here, and we want to say rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle and rest in peace to Young Dolph. But you got a chance to be around Nipsey and you got a chance to be around Dolph. Can you give us insight on both of those?
Nipsey was me being a consultant, connecting some dots and making it happen. And I can't make it up, but it's the truth. In that room, he chose me. He's like, yo, come in here. Once you listen to my music, you got to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm listening to everything that y'all hearing now and count that expression and
that's
shooting
the
that
marathon,
video.
Right?
Yeah. And shooting a video. And that probably was one video before his last video on Earth.
Yeah.
And so you hear me giving Nipsey Hussle direction. So that's some pretty dope experience. And then with Young Dolph, I did a collaboration with DJ Ferris called the Chicago Music Group. And the first record that we did was with Young Dolph and G Herbo.
Right.
And that energy was there. And then I did I am the trademark owner of The Porch, the talk show, all of that. I let everybody live because that's what culture is about. But on The Porch, I took The Porch and put it inside of the GCI Big Jam. And everybody sat on it. Young Dolph was one of the ones that graced the stage on it. And we got to talk and chop it up because we have that camaraderie.
Right.
And so those are unique experiences that when you think about 7 billion people on Earth, I walk with the 0%ers, not the 1%.
Yeah, that's right.
That's it.
And then to not have them here no more, but you have that in your memory bank is like one of those cherishable moments that a lot of people just don't get to experience. So for you to have those memories and to be able to process them now them not being here, do you reflect on the youth that we have now? Like, can you see it, the way that they go on, the trajectory? It'll remind you of certain people. And
the main part of responsibility starts at home. And when you worked at the Park District, 90% of the kids came looking for love because they didn't have it or their parents was too busy. And there was no proper structure. When we grew up, we got to go outside and play.
Yeah.
But you had some communication that came with that.
Right.
And 90% of the kids right now, you got to realize crack babies grew up.
I can't help it. I'm sorry.
Crack babies grew up. They started putting Ritalin in these kids, making them codependent of drugs.
Yeah.
And so those things that you look at the side effects of life right now.
Man.
Right? And then you have I go to a movie and say, Colors, Boys in the Hood, Don't Be a Menace to Society.
Menace to Society, yeah.
All those movies gave you a character that you wanted to assume.
Man.
Right?
See, this the stuff people do not touch on other platforms. They don't really get to touching on this type of stuff. So to us, those are key pivotal moments to us growing up, seeing nothing but gangsters, drug dealers, and things that around us. We didn't get the chance to see the doctors, the lawyers, or the Rita Lee.
I mean, you got to see Bill Cosby was killer. Bill Cosby gave you the Claire Huxtable energy. You got to see, baby. You got to see the want to make a sandwich in the middle of the night. You got to see that energy. and we had great comparisons of the Jeffersons.
Mm-hmm.
You had the reality of the white boy that's talking shit to the Jefferson.
Lived upstairs.
Yeah.
Archie
Nelson.
Archie Bunker.
Yeah.
Archie Bunker.
Okay.
You get to see where they kept it in your face.
Right.
But if you process this in a bigger picture, Roots was created so that it can make you really lose your identity of your king and queens of who we are.
There you go.
Right? So
Talk
they made
your
you
talk.
accept that you was a slave.
Talk your talk.
Right? But we was never slaves. So imagine I do festivals on cruises, Love and Harmony and Days of Summer. 3,000 people on a cruise ship. I'll see this cruise ship every day. A whole floating island. How the fuck you bring that many niggas over here? Excuse my expression. Niggas mean never. Ignorant getting goes accomplished.
Exactly.
But how you mean that many black people over here? So if the story was told like this, imagine how you were treated. All the black architects, doctors, scientists, and engineers was brought to America to make it great.
Wow.
But they took you from North Carolina and took you to Florida, you thought you went somewhere. They took you from Florida and put you in New Orleans, you thought you went somewhere. All they did was move you around because you was already here.
Change your demographic.
No, they made you lose your identity because they didn't let you study yourself and be among your tribe.
Mm-hmm.
So if you use the movie Hidden Figures, make it make sense. How if I can't read nothing but the Bible, I know how to fucking do a trajectory to get the fucking thing that didn't go nowhere to go somewhere?
So
Process that.
spaceship.
Yes. Process that.
Like
Right? So you could use that example of Hidden Figures, process that in multiple analogies if you're a rapper. We've been in Hidden Figures the whole time.
Wow.
So if it's only been 600 years of oppression, how long has the world been here? Make it make sense.
Like the movie Sinners, huh?
Amen. But that's a different example
Yeah.
of lifestyle breeding on another lifestyle.
Right.
But you're still chasing an ideology that's false. So true knowledge of self is where my confidence comes from.
Where did you get this besides God?
war and understanding.
Yeah, where did you get this ball of knowledge that you carry around with you? Who was the person that was just like put it in you? Because like they say it ain't on you, it's in you. Who put it in you, really? Who was the person that was like, this is how you finna be, besides God?
You couldn't define this. I just always knew it was something bigger and greater than what I was around. And the teachers that took time out to pour into me, teachers that took time out to show me who they were as individuals. And then it's just seeing love and knowing what love is and seeing it done to somebody, seeing a family that you can go be around a family, just listen and learn. But reading books, the transition, how you process information.
Mm-hmm.
So if I didn't want to be like somebody, I wanted to study your mistakes, and they gave me insight.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't want if I saw you run into a wall, do I want to go run into the wall?
I want to learn from your mistakes.
Yeah. So I thank you for your mistakes and the learning, but when you process what they're teaching you, so if I'm in school, I've been elevated in school. I should have went to boarding schools, but my mother didn't understand what that was.
Wow.
So if I'm in 5th grade, I'm reading at a 12th grade level. But that's where child development comes in at. My mother thought she was being smart by getting the babysitters, but she kept putting me in schools from 1 to 6, which made my development was different because I was taught education from 0 to 6. After 6, you're fucked. Right? And so that gives me my processes is a little different. Right? I never read the Bible.
Wow.
Because it's basic instruction before leaving Earth. It's the #1 bestseller. That doesn't resonate to me when a motherfucker tell me look both ways from across the street.
So that's a Pisces thing. That's what I get.
No, I'm a Taurus, but I definitely feel that energy though.
But no, it's everybody need what you need to be guided.
Yeah.
But spiritually, I say that to let you know I'm in tune with the Most High because I haven't read the Bible.
That's dope.
But that's an instrument that, how do I take something that's provided to me by someone that raped my mom, killed my dad,
Say it again.
and then tell me I can't read nothing but that? Process that programming.
Exactly.
That's That's cut and dry right there for you people. A lot of people don't get a chance to get it like that. You heard it straight from the horse's mouth.
It's the blueprint. The blueprint, only blueprint I have is the fingerprint I have. But the guidance from the experiences of you, and you lead me to illustrate that as a testimony.
And for the people that's out here that don't know Rita Lee, can you sum yourself up in one word, or is it you need a dictionary? Or can you just continue?
Imagine you call me Rita Lee and that's not my name. Sum that shit up.
That's fire right there. Because I know your real name, so that's fire.
But to sum up Rita Lee, I couldn't do it because God ain't through with me yet. I slept on a park bench during high school and went to school every day and had a 4.0 GPA, averaged 39.6 a game, and nobody knew. And then from there, I ain't had a job since 1994.
I never had a job in my life either.
Amen. Those things all resonate on. No person could put me here, but a village of love guided me here, and God could only pour that into them because He knew where I needed to go and where I need to still go. Can't explain it. And then I had bird flu in November of 2014, survived that, and then I had bacterial spinal meningitis in May of 2015. And they said, when I woke up, they said, "You need to plan a funeral." And I said, "Who funeral?" And then from there, you process. I became a serial killer, or I can be godly.
Godly.
But thank God you wasn't a serial killer. I got one more question though.
Go ahead.
Out of all of your life experiences, are we gonna get a book one day to read on Rita Lee? Do you think that's in your future?
If you tell your chapter, and you tell everybody tell their chapter, and put it together, they go to book, because it's all about the experience of how we interact with people. But another added caveat: imagine during COVID. I'm a leap year baby too. So imagine during COVID, they tell everybody to go inside, right? McHenry County opened up a movie, they drive-in theater. I said, well, shit, if they can open a drive-in theater, me too. I go to a Harvey Metro station and open up a drive-in theater. Everybody pulled up, 500 cars reserved in one day to come see Black Panther and Boys. What's the shit with
Bad Boys.
Bad Boys. So me being a processor, I said this shit in their phone. They came outside and paid to come see this shit. Cool. Do Purple Rain. Move over to Hazel Crest. Get out the car. My best friend Julian Green at the time, he said, "Rita, it'd be great if they can hear it in the car." I said, "What the fuck you think this is? Come sit in the car. You can see the drive-ins, everything on the channel." I get out the car. It's Purple Rain. Get to the part where Prince go, woo. I put my flashlight up and do the cars like this. Everybody got the car and did it. I looked behind me and said, shit, I just need to put a stage outside. It's up. Right? So then that created PR pop-ups and the Headlights Festival. So COVID happened in 2020. I did the first outdoor Headlights concert, drive-in concert, in June or July of that year. Made Forbes magazine and did streaming with that. From there, at that concert, it was DaBaby, the hottest artist on earth. Kiki Wyatt came out, Jennifer Hudson came out, and I'm doing a drive-in concert where people are coming in their cars. I said, "You got a gun in here? Let me get that. You come back and get that shit later. Go to your parking spot." No incidents. Kept that going to my last concert was Rod Wave outside. Took 14 acres, converted that into outdoor space. And when you process confidence, everybody's freaking out about being inside. And I went outside, and then nobody stopped shit. That level of opportunity continues to drive the opportunity of they tell you what to do and see how many sheep gonna follow it. I don't knock their agenda. That's not on my agenda. My agenda and assignment come from Him.
Innovative thinking.
God.
Innovative thinker.
you just, once somebody's put you into a box and you know what it feels like to be in a box, you don't be in a box because God gave a world. How do you get in a box when God created the world? Mm. It's okay if you don't know how to think for yourself. You need somebody to think for you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But don't try to start thinking for motherfuckers when you need people thinking for you. That's all. That's the blueprint.
Yeah. And we appreciate you coming out, Rita.
Definitely appreciate you coming out.
Blueprint.
Can't wait for part 2.
Yeah, can't wait for you to come back out.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the snapshot of the love and energy of what you guys are creating.
Yes, ma'am.
The blueprint of what you guys are doing that's coming together to have an agenda, to be prepared, and to give people a chance to express their voice however you see fit.
Yes, ma'am.
But at the same time, the blueprint is what ordained within you and is going to die with you unless you leave it with somebody else.
Amen.
And thank you for coming out. We out.
Amen.
Yeah.